What do they want? They
What is reality? Reality is what we believe to be true about the nature of our surroundings. But how do we come to decide that true nature? Do we conceive it completely on our own? Or do other devices gently sway our thoughts onto a pre-decided path? This is the hard question we must all ask ourselves as free humans on this planet. New sculpts your reality.
Reality. Whoa! Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday night.
What is good, everybody? It's time for another fun-filled, magical ride through the airwaves here on Reality Brief. Yeah, we really didn't have anything scripted, man. We never do, but whatever. It's Wednesday night. Fucking time to throw down.
Oh, welcome to Reality Brief. I'm Don.
I'm Dan.
And you are watching. We don't know your name, though.
Some of you we know your names.
So tonight we got Ileana coming back on the show again. We're going to be talking about Antarctica and some type of Atlantean activity going on down there. That's going to be good.
Good times. One of our very favorite guests.
So, in the meantime, though,
before all that jumps off, we got a little bit of news to dig into. And
what is this?
Yeah, sweet Jesus.
You're watching Reality Brief.
But yeah, is this proof that there's not only proof of life, but potentially proof of life that could, make you see funny things if you, oh yeah, there we go, yeah, it's microphones and stuff, those are helpful. Yeah, mushrooms that, things that are growing on Mars that could make you see funny stuff if you eat them.
So what? Oh, you don't have the article up?
No,
right.
What's it? I'm working on it. Man.
All right, is this proof of life on Mars? NASA's Curiosity rover snaps photos of Martian mushrooms that prove the red planet is home to organic life forms. Scientists claim in controversial study.
Yeah. Images from NASA's Mars Curiosity show pictures of mushrooms and fungi. Some scientists claim that these NASA images show that the red surface is indeed not barren. The claims from the researchers have yet to be confirmed or refuted by NASA. So,
it's as barren as thine fields of fucks.
Yeah. Images from the surface of Mars reveal the presence of mushrooms, a group of scientists claim in a controversial new study. It states that some images captured by NASA's Curiosity show fungi growing on the surface of the supposedly barren planet.
Fungi.
The claims have yet to be confirmed or refuted by NASA, so judge for yourself, because we got, they got pictures of this stuff.
Hey, baby.
It lists 15 images of evidence as algae, lichens, and Martian mushrooms. Photographic evidence of such flourishing life forms, should the discovery be confirmed, would revolutionize our understanding of Mars and life outside the Earth. Dr. Regina Das.
That kind of looks like a giant fish head. Take a look at that.
It does look like it could be some kind of, like
a turtle.
You see, it looks like it's got little, tentacles coming out of it, like little caps.
So what are we saying is the fungus here? These little circles?
Yeah, these little dealy bobbers poking out of it.
Little barnacle jams.
You see on the right?
Mm-hmm.
They cast little shadows.
I wonder if anybody out there listening has been to Mars and can confirm
indeed
shrooms on Mars.
Yeah.
And if you can confirm that, can you also let us know, are they cubies as well?
Seriously. Regina Das at the Department of Microbiology at the School of Life Sciences, India, the study's co-author, said that there are no geological or other abiogenic forces on Earth that can produce sedimentary structures by the hundreds that have mushroom shapes like stems, stalks, and shed what looks like spores on the surrounding surface. In fact, 15 specimens were photographed by NASA growing out of the ground in just 3 days. It remains unknown why life may have sprouted on Mars, but it is possible conditions are more suitable for cultivating life underground than on the surface. These claims have been published in the Journal of Astrobiology and Space Science Reviews.
Yo, right there, man. That looks like some shit on the Martian surface right there. That's some Venus. We need a Venus sample for that. Wishman, play
what planet
Venus.
are they from?
Wishman, play Venus.
Oh, man. So, yeah, we got some far-out rocks on here. They say that...
it looks like Penny's chiming to say there are mushrooms on Mars, but she never had them. So, wonder how hard Martian shrooms will make you trip, dude.
Seriously.
What's up next?
You'd go to the dark side or the far side or the other side on that shit, man.
Well, speaking of Antarctica and our guest tonight, we got some news down from Antarctica. Oh, we got a little video, too. Let's see what happens when we play it. Salsa. 3,500 feet in West Africa. Subglacial. This doesn't even have nothing to do with Arctic. It seems like. Yeah, man, just because it's an ad.
No, they're talking about it.
Nah.
It says they drill into a subglacial lake, but yeah, basically it's where we're talking about.
Yeah, we're not going to get into reading this whole giant long jammer here, guys.
But basically they drilled holes and set off explosions to map these underground lakes under Antarctica because they're trying to figure out just how fast the ice is sliding into the ocean.
So, turns out there's a vast network of these hidden lakes, which, we've all pretty much speculated for some time. Right down there where, you could kind of drive a sub into.
Yeah. Just park your U-boat right there, Hans.
So this area is to the east of Queen Maud Land. This is right under Australia, and in fact,
like south of Australia.
High Jump went to this glacier and checked this shit out. So there you go. I mean, that was a quick one.
Yeah,
we just got to get to that. Also, back in the news, we got Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit coming up. So
yeah, that's kind of a big
this one
deal.
says mystery party seeks secrecy in Jeffrey Epstein related lawsuit. Essentially, now this is a really long one.
Yeah,
it's
long.
just like blah 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 blah. You want to read it? It's up on Political. I'm sure there's more sources, but essentially, what's going on is you've got these people who were involved in this, right? But they're not wrapped up in the trial. But because of what's coming out in the trial, they're worried that their names are going to be brought into it, right? So
two mystery litigants citing privacy concerns.
Two separate lawyers contacting. So essentially, it's just people that are wrapped up in this shit trying to get out of trouble before they even get into trouble. So, I mean, the question is...
Rich, corrupt bastards scrambling to cover their asses is what it boils
right,
down
so
to.
they're worried about all these secret sealed things that are in the court, and they don't want them to become unsealed and all that shit. So, but how do they know what's in there if it's sealed unless they know they fucking did the shit?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Unless they... Yeah, how do they know? If it's sealed, then...
Nah, man, I firmly believe that, after this trial, if this guy is convicted and all that, well, I guess he already is, isn't he?
Yeah.
All this shit should be public, right? Isn't that how it works?
I think a good chunk of it is. There might be people that are, like, covered up by the witness protection program that,
right.
have had their identities changed and stuff. But, yeah, right under there it says, it's got a nice picture of a longtime Clinton attaché, Jeff Epstein. Last month, a federal judge in Florida ruled that federal prosecutors broke a law a decade ago by failing to consult with and misleading victims of Jeff Epstein before making a deal that waived any federal charges in exchange for him pleading guilty to 2 state felony prostitution charges. But, yeah, this is some dirty shit.
Mm-hmm. And the people that are looking for the anonymity or whatever are... It's got to do with, what was it, sex with teens?
Yeah, what's it? I'm looking for the paragraph on that. But, yeah, it's some deep down dirty shit.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some pretty rich, pretty powerful people tied up in it.
But we already knew that. But, it's more progress towards it. But hopefully these people don't get to cover up their fucking crimes. But knowing how shit works.
Yeah, there
Epstein
were
and
three different parties.
The few people who got, slaps on the wrist and shit for this shit. What did Epstein get? 18 months?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, come on, dude. You're running a sex traffic island with children, you get 18 months.
Yeah, you get more for that than, like, selling loose cigarettes on the corner or smoking a joint in public or, driving on a suspended license.
I mean, it's just state control out of control.
Yeah, it's one set of rules for them and another for you and me.
Speaking of out of control state, so the EU went and done it. They started the fucking Great Meme War.
Yeah, you thought the meme wars of 2008,
no,
2016, 2012, you thought those were savage. Oh no, we have not even begun to see the future of meme wars. And we're here now, folks. It's World Meme War 3, World Meme War 3, and it's jumping off.
It's a sad day for European Pepe lovers everywhere.
Yeah, it feels bad, man.
Feels real bad.
Real
EU
bad.
Parliament passes controversial meme ban. It's official. The European Parliament has finally approved the controversial copyright directive, which is designed to overhaul online copyright law in the EU. The law is divisive, especially Article 13. Opponents call it a meme ban and say it'll limit the freedom of speech by forcing upload filters on any user uploaded content and give big tech an even stronger grip online. Advocates, on the other hand, say it will force big tech to pay for their fair share. What's certain, the internet in Europe will never be the same. And if this comes here, that's the end of our show.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys can kiss Reality Brief goodbye.
I know, we're going to have to, secret cast on the dark web. It'll be even harder to get our links to work.
We're going to have to live stream via a torrent system.
Seriously. Meme ban? Maybe we'll just go, we'll just do a pirate show on shortwave. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. We'll be like Bill Cooper, rocking it, hour at a time. We'll call it the second hour at a time.
So, the meme ban, one controversial part of the directive, which many observers have dubbed a meme ban, would force major platforms like YouTube to filter every single upload to prevent copyright infringement.
Boom.
Supporters of the directive say that the meme ban is inaccurate since memes would fall under the label of parodies and thereby would be protected. But opponents argue that automatic upload filters won't know any better, and we all know, of course, that you can't expect a far left government like the EU to govern memes because the left can't meme.
And this whole fucking automatic upload filters don't know any better. They don't, man.
No,
this is why I get copyright fucking notifications every time my fucking band gets played on my channel.
Seriously.
Yeah, dude.
So, another stipulation which opponents have dubbed the link tax would force news aggregators, including heavyweights like Google News, to remunerate publishers for linking their articles. Members of Parliament Julia Reda, a vocal opponent to the EU's copyright directive, has argued that small publishers with less brand recognition, like us, could lose out, and called it a dark day for internet freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So, it links to articles with more on The Verge. We'll post it in the Reality Brief group if we haven't already, which I'm pretty sure I have.
So, if we go by the standard model, what are we, 10 years behind this now? I mean, think about the way Europe went, with the surveillance state and all that. It seems like we're on, 5 to 10 year lag. Because you remember, they had cameras everywhere in fucking London way before they had them everywhere here.
Yeah, that's true.
It was
and
everything
they're
was
already
piloted.
pretty much everywhere here.
Yeah, everything is piloted over there. So, I'm saying, 10 years, maybe.
We really will be outside of fucking Solo selling memes to people.
It's going to be fucking crazy, guys.
You won't be able to get them on the internet anymore. You're gonna have to download them and print them out on vinyl.
They make you feel real good.
Instead of people building meth labs in their sheds, they'll be building meme labs.
Photoshop dens.
Yeah, meme labs. Police uncover an illegal meme lab behind Walmart today.
You know what, man? I guess people are just going to have to start drawing their own memes. No more easy meme. I guess that cuts out a lot of the fucking masses from making memes.
Holy shit, it's time to buy stock in Sharpie markers. That shit's about to shoot through the roof. Kilroy's about to come back, except it's going to be the feels guy.
Oh, my feels.
So
that's it, man. I mean, how long? 10 years. Unless, barring some kind of significant event, a Pearl Harbor type event, dare I say, that, makes it seem like we need all these crazy restrictions on the internet because of the children or some shit.
And the guy, I need more money and authority.
I need a more power over you and everything you do. So, cause the children. It's like Michael
We
Jackson.
live in a society.
The children. So loud booms, man. You remember?
Yeah, what's up with the mystery booms? Maybe you guys have heard of this phenomenon.
We've been
Just
hearing
loud
about this
booms
for years.
coming out of nowhere.
For years. So apparently, we're back. What's that sound?
That's the sound. Have you heard it?
Sounds like somebody
A series of startling booms are being reported in northeastern Sacramento County, and people say they've been hearing these noises for months.
Now viewers are asking us to get answers.
Could somebody in California
The tranquility of this Fair Oaks neighborhood is being shattered by some mysterious nighttime noises.
It's instantaneous. It doesn't last long.
Homeowners being startled by loud booms in the late evening hours.
It's like a sharp popping sound, like pop.
Kaboosh. Not like a gunshot, but like an explosion.
It's a real low-pitch boom.
I cannot make that sound. It's almost like a gunfire with a bass drum.
One explosion was even caught on this Ring security camera. The noises are loud enough to set off car alarms and wake people from their sleep.
You know, rattles the windows. It sounds like a firework going off in my backyard.
The sounds are especially startling. Sleep.
You know,
rattles are loud enough and was even caught.
Not make that sound. It's almost like a gunfire with a bass drum.
One explosion was even caught on this Ring security camera. The noises are loud enough to set off car alarms and wake people from their sleep.
You know, rattles the windows. It sounds like a firework going off in my backyard.
The sounds are especially startling for those who have kids.
She's 2 years old and she comes out and she's like, Mommy, what is that? And she freaks out.
The loud bangs have attracted so much attention, a Facebook page has been created to track the times and direction of the explosions. It now has more than 500 followers. Last weekend, the Sheriff's Department received multiple reports of the explosions and sent out their helicopter and several deputies to investigate. Investigators say they're confident it's caused by powerful illegal fireworks, with a blast equivalent to up to a half a stick of dynamite.
No one's actually seen them. Like who they are, how old are they, their ethnicity, vehicle description, license plate number, nothing. They're like ghosts.
Now neighbors are keeping a close eye and ear out for the suspects.
I mean, if it's kids just having fun, but stop because someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah, someone is going to get hurt. Pretty disturbing. And this story, by the way, came from a viewer who wrote us to ask us if you have a mystery you can't solve. You can send in a question like this.
That movie with where they built the lasers like genius kids, and then they fucking shot the laser into the house full of popcorn.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
So,
popcorns. Well, we got about 10 minutes till we hit the break and then get Ileana on. So, what do you want to talk about here?
Good old
McDonald's.
Yeah, McSkynet.
Oh, McSkynet.
McSkynet.
Just about my two favorite things ever: McDonald's and AI.
Yep.
McDonald's will use AI to automatically tweak drive-through menus. It might give McFlurries more prominent placement on hot days, for instance. When you roll up to a McDonald's drive-thru in the near future, you might notice the menu changing while you're ordering to persuade you to buy a few more items. The fast food giant is buying machine learning startup Dynamic Yield for a reported $300 million, and the first stop for the company's AI is the drive-thru window. Yo, McDonald's bought an entire AI company? They didn't just be like, yo, AI dudes, man, we got some money, build us this system. They were like, nah, AI dudes, we own you now.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
So McSkynet is.
What else are they trying to
decide what you eat?
What else are they trying to fucking?
What happens when the AI decides that it's the best way to rid the world of humans is to
stack them up, sell only triple cheeseburgers?
Seriously.
The system will look at factors such as weather, time, local events, traffic levels at the restaurant and on nearby roads, historical sales data, currently popular items, and even what you're ordering to optimize menu displays at drive-thru windows. It might, for instance, promote the McFlurry or iced coffees on hot days, or suggest simpler items that are faster for employees to prepare if there's a long line.
Yeah, right.
They're like, I want a Big Mac. No, you want a sausage biscuit. But I want a Big Mac. No, You want a sausage biscuit.
2 McDoubles playing, going up.
McDonald's tested the AI at several restaurants last year. And Executive Vice President and Global Chief Information Officer Daniel Henry told Wired he expected more than 1,000 locations will be using it within the next 3 months. So that's like, what, half a state? Half a state is going to start at 1,000 locations.
Yeah.
The system will ultimately reach all 14,000 U.S. restaurants and expand to other markets. McDonald's also plans to add the AI to self-order kiosks and its mobile app, and perhaps other parts of its business, such as kitchens, kitchen staff, managerial staff, drive-through operators.
And then the company that they're gobbling up will still operate independently.
Dynamic Yield will still operate as an independent company. Its current clients include IKEA, Sephora, Urban Outfitters. What are they doing with AI? The potential application and its new parent company are particularly
what
intriguing.
to sell you, apparently.
However, for instance, Henry said the company may eventually use license plate recognition as part of the system. I knew it was fucking coming. I knew it was coming. Yep. They're gonna fucking, oh, it's Fat Boy. Pull up the fucking double cheeseburger. Fat Boy's here. We scan his license plate. Now we know you got all your fucking eating habits in a database too. Mm-hmm. You know, this is. Take it. You love it. Eat it. Eat it. Eat it with the fucking cheeseburger. Eat your fucking slavery with the fucking cheeseburger, okay? Have it. Smiley shows impression.
Dude, I'm tired of being social engineered.
That was the best.
So we got nice, pretty pictures of an exoplanet, apparently. And yeah, I think we got time to squeak that in, huh?
What time is it? 8:22?
Yeah.
I mean, I can rant and rave about fucking cheeseburger slaves.
McCheeseburger AI slavery.
I am making the goddamn cheeseburger slaves. That's our sampler tonight. Smiley Shane's button. What were you talking about?
The gravity instrument.
Gravity instrument.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hurry up, Wishman. You're taking forever on everything.
Seriously.
Tonight, dude. Holy fucking balls.
So, yeah, gravity instrument breaks new ground in exoplanet imaging. And, it's hard to tell by the article if this is actually, like, a picture that they took. I can't imagine that it is, or that it's an artist's impression. But, yeah, it says the gravity instrument on ESO's Very Large Telescope Interferometer, VLTI, has made the first direct observation of an exoplanet using optical interferometry. This method revealed a complex exoplanetary atmosphere with clouds of iron and silicate, so it's hot as shit, swirling in a planet-wide storm. The technique presents unique possibilities for characterizing many of the exoplanets known today. So yeah, they got this new thing called the gravity instrument. It's on ESO's Very Large Telescope Interferometer. And yeah, they can peep at what's in atmospheres around other planets, like going around other stars. So yeah, it's pretty dope.
You think you can get fucking AI cheeseburgers at that motherfucker?
At that one, definitely not, because the clouds are made of molten iron.
Yeah, but what if they got like some kind of shield technology? It's like the intergalactic slave burger capital.
I don't know. Maybe that's they have AI that's like the oven planet where they just cook sheets, like mile-wide sheets of cheeseburgers.
You mean like sheets, like the store?
Yeah.
Sheets, which by the way, once again, do not stop at Sheets and get food if you're in Virginia and on the road, because you will be Sheets all over the damn place.
In like the rural mid-Atlantic area, I think. But yeah, it's a bad idea. So they say that the HR 8799E, it's a super Jupiter. It's bigger and more massive than anything in our solar system. It's only about 30 million years old. This baby exoplanet is young enough to give scientists a window onto the formation of planets and planetary systems. The exoplanet's thoroughly inhospitable. Leftover energy from its formation and powerful greenhouse effects heat this thing up to roughly 1,000 degrees Celsius. So yeah, nothing's alive down there. Maybe the Tholians. But yeah, no, it's probably just a magmatic hellhole. Who knows? Maybe in the future it'll be a nice place. But, once its Hadean era is up.
Alright, check this out. NASA cancels first all-female spacewalk because it didn't have two fitting spacesuits.
So they canceled the spacewalk because they didn't have anything to wear.
NASA has been forced to cancel history's first all-female spacewalk because it was unable to provide 2 properly fitting spacesuits for the astronauts. Christina Koch and Anne McLean were scheduled to conduct the walk at the International Space Station on March 29th, but because only one suitable spacesuit is available, Ms. Koch will now be joined by Nick Hague. McLean learned during her first spacewalk that a medium-sized hard upper torso, essentially the shirt of the spacesuit, fits her best. A NASA statement read, because only one medium-sized torso can be made ready by Friday, Koch will wear it. The aim of the mission is to continue the installation of powerful lithium-ion batteries for one of the station's solar arrays. According to NASA, Ms. McLean has become the 13th woman to perform a spacewalk, which she conducted one with Mr. Hague on March 22nd. Ms. Koch will also be 14th.
Yeah, so 14th woman to walk in space. Well, hey, good.
I mean, look, here's a question.
I hope that someday soon it'll be hundreds of people who
This is bothering me. Okay, you've got how many people are on the ISS?
3.
3 people on the ISS.
Yeah.
You don't have a fucking spacesuit to fit each person. What the fuck are you doing sending people into space?
Seriously.
And there ain't even a goddamn spacesuit to fit everybody.
Yeah, you don't know when shit's gonna hit the fan.
You gotta be fucking kidding me right now, man.
Holy balls, that's frightening.
Oh my god, dude.
That's what kind of shit show operation are we running here?
I don't know, man. Pretty fucking horrible, if you ask me. What we got here? Planet 9? No, something other than Planet 9.
Hey Sarge, how do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
This will be the last one. Then we're gonna have to jump the break and get hooked up with Ileana and bring her in for the interview segment of the show. How y'all liking our new format?
Let us know in the YouTube chat.
I think I'm liking it.
Or stop by the Facebook group, Facebook page, whatever. Send us some feedback. We take constructive criticism pretty well.
NASA is sending a helicopter to Mars.
But there's no communists there to throw it out of yet.
In early 2021, a tiny helicopter will land on the Red Planet with the Mars 2020 rover.
It's not that kind of red planet.
When the Mars 2020 rover lands on the Red Planet in early 2021, it will carry with it a small helicopter, the first human craft to fly on another planet. Can I get a note? Can I get a note? Can I get a note? Nope. Until now, Mars has hosted orbiters, landers, and rovers, but no flying machines. Did you hear that out there? No flying machines on Mars. The Mars helicopter is meant only as
Unless
a technology
you count the stuff in orbit.
only as technology demonstration. If it doesn't work, the Mars 2020 mission will still succeed. If it does, it will have opened up an entirely new avenues for exploring other worlds. That could be dope, man. You think about a little helicopter with a camera, man, fucking docks onto the main rover.
It's solar powered, so you just get a whole fleet of these little things buzzing around Mars.
Mm-hmm. Pretty dope. While helicopters are old Earth technology, flying one on Mars will be challenging. Thanks to Mars' thin atmosphere, a helicopter flying just above the surface is already the equivalent of 100,000 feet on Earth altitude. God damn.
Yeah, the air is really thin on Mars.
Far beyond where helicopters or even typically planes fly, the altitude record for a helicopter on Earth is only 40,000 feet. And even consumer drones on Earth can struggle at high altitudes. So NASA engineers at the JPL had to make a craft that was both incredibly light and incredibly strong. They think they've succeeded. The resulting chopper is only about the size of a softball, weighs about 4 pounds. Its rotor blades will spin at 3,000 RPM, 10 times faster than most Earth choppers. The team has been working on the project since 2013 as a technology demonstration, though it wasn't approved for Mars 2020 mission until May of 2018. Aside from the challenge of flight itself on the Red Planet, engineers also had to figure out how the craft would navigate with communication delays or at least a few minutes between Mars and Earth. That is pretty interesting. This is where their AI is going to come in handy. Engineers solved this problem with the rovers by taking careful pictures of the terrain and then guiding the rover slowly towards its goal, with many stops along the way to reassess any risks. But a helicopter needs faster response times, being more likely to encounter wind patterns and other obstacles that can knock it off course. And of course, if the rover ever malfunctions and stops operating, it will still be safely on the ground. The helicopter must have built-in systems to safely land itself if it encounters any errors.
So these things are going to have to be relatively autonomous.
Yeah. You would think so.
And
I mean,
actually, it says right there, so the Mars helicopter will be autonomous, flying itself on short flights. It'll receive commands and communicate via the rover, but has its own solar-powered batteries for power and a heater to keep it warm on cold Martian nights. Its mission will last for 30 days and include 5 flights. At first, these will be simple hovering tests, maybe just 10 feet off the ground. It'll work up to longer flights lasting maybe about 90 seconds. So if the helicopter is successful, NASA hopes that future versions could be used as scouting missions for other rovers or to image regions inaccessible to a wheeled explorer.
Bam.
You know, I remember hearing a while back they had a project cooking called Ares that was basically a plane, a Mars plane that was supposed to fly through the middle atmosphere of Mars where all the weather patterns are. And I'm not sure if it ever, I guess it never materialized. If there's nothing flying around Mars, because I definitely remember hearing.
All right, here's the bumper music coming in. Ding, 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 ding. All right, guys, we got to jump to break. We got the guest coming up here shortly, so we'll see you in just a minute.
Hey guys, it's the real Space Jesus here. None of that blue chicken bullshit. You're watching Reality Brief.
I'm not in a fucking cult. 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 I'm not in a fucking cult.
Hi there, it's Justin. Is there a band that you love and you wish you could turn everybody else in the world on to? That's us every week over at Deprogram. Get together, we talk about a band, we give you a top 10 starter kit for you and anybody else who wants to listen to that band. It's pretty simple, it's a great time, and it's a great way for you to discover new artists. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you can download your fine podcasts. That's Deprogram, learning and loving people.
After the break, how to survive an encounter with a telepathic spider.
And is your neighbor involved in black operative mind crime? Ways to find out.
Find out on Reality Brief. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now?
I disagree.
Well, that's why you're wrong.
So wait, we just accidentally streamed that?
Mm-hmm.
So the entire world saw that?
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me now? Hello?
What? Transporter room. I need you to need a site-to-site transport directly onto the toilet. We've only got 10 minutes for this break.
Man, I told you to speak into the microphone.
Blue chickens. Look, they're gonna be moving into your neighborhood. They're gonna be passing your laws. They're gonna be teaching your kids. You know.
God, I'm so fucking hungry, man. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Hello? I don't know if it's working, Dan.
It probably isn't.
Shit, man.
Why don't you just get the goddamn Google machine to fix it, huh?
Fuck. Hello? Whoa. What do you mean it's on fire? What? it them?
Shit!
Go, 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 go!
Hey, buddy. Want to buy some memes? This one's banned in the EU. Only $10 for the dank ones.
Oh hi, Space Jesus again. If you're looking for a little redemption, hop on over to patreon.com/realitybrief or redbubble.com/people/realitybrief and think about giving a little something to that cause. Why donate to the pot in church when you can donate to some pot instead?
Hey guys, we are back. Yes, that is my cat. We are back, guys. Hour 2. We're joined by Ileana for discussion about Antarctica and more. I'm sure we'll get to much more. Ileana, you with us?
Yep, I'm here. Hello.
Thanks for being on the show tonight.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Good to be here.
It's been a while since you've been on. Yeah, you been all right? I know you were suffering some attacks there a while back.
Yeah, I've just done a lot of revocations, sole contract revocations, to not be attacked and to not be kidnapped or abducted by the planetary corporations from the secret space program. That's one of the groups. So I have not been bothered ever since middle of last year. So I haven't been attacked by anything or anyone. So that seems to be going well, and I'm just concentrating on research and hopefully book writing.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Book writing, huh? So you're putting out a book?
I've started writing a book about my extraterrestrial contact experiences, spirituality, and all the SSP stuff that I had been involved with as an SSP asset. So I'm just kind of putting that into chapters right now, doing artwork for it and doing some research, and hopefully sometime next year or the year after I'll self-publish it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be one to look out for. When you get that out, let me know. We'll promote it on the show for you. Awesome, will do. So the reason for you coming on tonight is because you got some things you wanted to discuss about Antarctica.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been doing some jotting down notes from my videos. I had done 3 videos about my SSB asset experiences in Antarctica, seeing Atlantean outposts there, the ancient technologies, and cataloging those technologies, the Neuralink chairs, the cryogenic stasis pods, supercomputers, and they all have these hieroglyphic letters in ancient languages on them. So I had done mapping of that, where the locations were in Antarctica, and those are published in my videos on Awakening Cosmic Reality Show on YouTube, on my channel.
I think we have a link to that in the description of this video if you're watching it live on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, so anybody could find those Antarctica videos there.
We have a link to your Facebook page.
Yeah, and the Atlantean outposts, they also had these genetic laboratories and spaceship building facilities. So they built like 5 different types of prototype ships that I had seen, and the other weird technology with the hieroglyphs. So I've been working on a chapter for my book of that, doing the artwork and basically like almost 6 pages of transcription for my videos. And then I had seen Linda Moulton Howe's video come out of Spartan 1 and Spartan 2. And what those guys, one claims to be a Marine SEAL and the other also worked in military. And they claimed that Spartan 1 had seen these ancient ruin facilities, what I think is Atlantean outpost facilities, under the ice sheets, and one of the secret entrances was near McMurdo. So, and they were getting there by submarine, entering through the portal gate system through submarines. And I remember mapping a submarine docking port location right near where that was described.
Well, before we get too deep into that, could you just explain a little bit about what you say when you say Atlantean, because there's a lot of different concepts of Atlantis and Atlanteans out there. So if you could just clarify what it is to you, what you're talking about.
Sure. Yeah, this goes back 2 million years ago or even more. These Atlantean outposts are modern, very modern technology, advanced, more advanced than ours by thousands of years, even millions. So there's technology that can basically like cure you of any disease, of anything, traumatic memories, rebuild limbs. So I'm talking advanced Atlantis,
Okay. So what about the Atlanteans themselves? Were they human? Were they a different race? Or where did they come from? That kind of thing.
Some of them were human, but there was, from what I remember, 10 species of different extraterrestrials working with the humans in the Atlantean outposts in Antarctica and other continents on Earth. So it wasn't just Antarctica that had these outposts, it was other continents as well on the planet. What I'm talking about Atlantis is them having lots of different continents, not just one major continent that had huge city that was called Atlantis. That's not what I'm describing.
So you're talking about an empire and
Like
not
a civilization.
not just a city or one
Yeah.
place. It's a whole global empire.
Yeah, and they had mixed civilizations working together and living together to build out advanced technologies, to genetically modify themselves, animals. So the technology goes way beyond what we're currently utilizing.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that, there was a global catastrophe and also them being attacked from outer space by other extraterrestrials who saw what Atlantis was doing as competition, especially the genetic modification and it being a threat, destroying human civilization as is, and basically almost maybe even destroying half the planet if they had continued. So Atlantis was partially destroyed from outer space, them using sort of like nuclear weapons, and also the earthquakes and the deluge. So that was a culmination of everything.
Does this coincide with the fall of the Rama Empire? Like when they talk about like Vishnu dropping fire from heaven and
we're talking like 14,000, 16,000 years ago, around that area, like the last flood.
We're talking not that flood. We're talking 2 million years ago.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sort of like Vishnu and Rama, but even more on an epic scale. So that's what we're talking about.
Okay, and the Atlanteans, just to clarify, you said they were humans, or
some of them were human.
Mixed. It was
mixed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mixed. Some of them were human, but a lot of them were not human. They were ET human hybrids, working with the human populations that were currently here 2 million years ago. And we were more advanced than the Neanderthals. There had been other human civilizations other than the Neanderthals, because Neanderthals were 2 million years ago and upwards. So what most people here in the historical record, archaeological record, think it's just Neanderthals and other, species of human like that, very primitive. They could only make fire and that's it. But there were more advanced civilizations with technology and a way to get off planet and work with other civilizations. So it's just our historical record, archaeological record is skewed. We're missing a lot of history.
So do you think that there has been like digs and stuff other places other than Antarctica that has uncovered this technology? It's just been kept quiet, or did something happen to where it's only left over in Antarctica?
Oh, I think it's left over in other places like Peru, New Mexico, other remote places, Antarctica especially, because
it's been untouched.
The mountains in South America, maybe.
Yeah, the mountains in South America, and Antarctica. What the planetary corporations are doing is they are going into these Atlantean outposts and trying to study this ancient technology and the outposts themselves, some of them are still active. They weren't destroyed. They were preserved under the ice sheets.
Far out.
We got a question wondering with from an audience, what species were the humans hybrid with? You said there were ET human hybrids. Do you know which species it was?
Andromedan, Pleiadian, Arcturian, any type of
just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, anything that's kind of local to this universe, to the nearby galaxies, that was hybridized.
Now, were you aware were you aware of like a galactic empire run by Atlantis at all, or was it just an Earth phenomenon?
I'm aware of the Earth phenomenon, that this was done on this planet.
So that Atlantis' reach didn't extend beyond Earth, as far as you know.
I think it does. I think they had outposts on other planets and other galaxies. I'm just more aware of the Antarctica aspect of it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see, where were we before we got that question?
Was there evidence of Vimanas or anything found in Antarctica?
More complicated spacecraft than Vimanas. More like circular, rounded motherships, huge motherships that can hold millions of beings in them.
So you would say that the things that, like, who was on the Cosmic Disclosure show, they were talking about ships under the ice and stuff, you would say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assessment.
There's a big thing in X-Files, too.
Yeah, and Stargate SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis, that's soft disclosure about Antarctica.
Which, by the way, the SG-1 battle over Antarctica is pretty much like the most epic scene in the whole show.
Yeah, it was one of the best space battles. Well, it was on Earth, too, so anyway.
Exactly.
We digress.
Sci-fi air battles.
Yeah, and in the X-Files movie, there was a huge mothership buried in Antarctica that they had unearthed, and there was aliens, hybridization.
And the black goo was in that, too.
Yeah, and the black goo, I mean, there's regeneration tanks, and they have various types of goo, from what I remember in the cybernetic labs on Mars when I was there as a cybernetics technician. I got to see that kind of stuff. So, and then they put me into Antarctica because I'm good with ancient languages and light language. So the hieroglyphics were very familiar to me, and you activate them on the artifacts through psychic energetic connection. Like, you touch the artifact and the symbols glow and activate, and it basically activates the technology itself.
That's awesome.
I have a question. You are a very highly acclaimed remote viewer. Have you attempted to remote view any of these ruins yourself?
Yeah, I remote viewed them. That's how I got the mapping done correctly. Okay. What I did, I knew that Atlantean outposts were there for a long time because I had been there in Antarctica. What I needed to do, I knew my target was Antarctica, so this wasn't a blind remote viewing. Mm-hmm. What I did do is get a perfectly blank map of Antarctica itself with the ice sheets, right, covering it. And then I went to town and put dots where the Atlantean outposts are, where all the SSP bases are, and laboratories, and where the docking ports are for the submarines. And those docking ports use Stargate technology, actually, where the subs go through the Stargate portal to access the tunnel systems.
Like the trains that Tony and others have talked about, that you get on them and kind of just takes you through a portal to another place.
Yeah, except these portal systems, they take the subs underwater in the tunnels. So it's ancient alien portals that were there a long time ago that the subs could go through. They discovered how to do that.
I was gonna say that'd be a real freak out. You're just trying to park, drill through some ice to park your U-boat, and bam, big chunk of hull right there.
Yeah, well, they don't really have to do that because the subs, the electro-powered subs can go in through these Stargateway portals, and there's tunnels underwater. So that makes it easy already. You have easy access. Before, they could only get through McMurdo by Humvees or something, the machines that travel on the ice. More than ATVs, because ATVs are Land Rovers, and these were beyond ATVs. But that takes a long time, right? So they had to figure out a different way of doing it. So they did it with the electric subs.
So where do these portals go? Or stargates?
These portals go to these ancient ruins, the Atlantean outposts, and various vault systems of library repositories. So it literally, you dock with the submarine docks at the portal, right? And it takes you underground. You get off the sub and you walk into the Atlantean outposts or the genetic lab facilities, the knowledge repositories, or the black vaults, as I call them.
So with all this ice melting and new discoveries of lakes and shelves falling off and all that, do you think that has any consequence from any of this activity, or is that just natural planet changes?
Well, I think it does have consequences of activity, because there are a lot of secret space program bases in Antarctica. And also what they're doing on the surface of Antarctica, just the scientists drilling into the ice and finding stuff. And they do expend energy with the drilling. So it is changing the climate. So the ice sheets are rapidly melting. So I do think it has to do with that. And part of it is global warming, because we do expend a lot of CO2 and gas emissions and fracking all over the planet for fuel and resources, mining and fracking. So that is contributing to global warming and heating up the planet.
Well, yeah, and we are coming out of an ice age too, so there's that. I mean, pretty much, Mars.
You know what's interesting too
Mars
is
and Venus are heating up too.
What happens?
Yeah.
What happens when we come out of the solar minimum?
Well, I've heard that we might go into another mini ice age. It'll quickly, rapidly heat up, and then it'll go downhill again and into an ice age.
So it'll all melt up there and then freeze over again.
Yeah, like a rapid heating and then a rapid cooling.
Like
well,
you remember the day after
sounds
tomorrow?
Fun.
Art Bell's Day After Tomorrow, where the big tidal wave comes into New York City, and then the
mega
storm,
the mega storm that
freezes all the buildings full of water.
Oh boy!
Yeah, I've seen those apocalyptic movies where that happens. I don't think it's going to be that drastic or that quick.
Right.
Because it takes centuries for that to happen, and it doesn't happen like that. It's gradual, very gradual, and you kind of see signs of it, but it takes centuries for that to happen, according to what I've studied and what I think about it. I don't think we're just going to suddenly get a catastrophe and have New York buried in water. I don't think that's going to happen like overnight.
Right. Take some time.
What about with all this melting, the new forms of ice that have been isolated in these little, pockets of water under the ice for thousands or millions of years that are now being reintroduced out into the ocean? We read this thing about this one animal they found. We've talked about this article a couple of shows, either last show or the one before that, but they uncovered this thing. They're calling it the Death Star fish. It's got 50 limbs. And it's this weird-looking Cthulhu thing that they found in the oceans, next to the Antarctic ice shelf. And this thing is far out looking. I posted the link in Trello if you want to pull up a visual for our fans at home. But
I think that's very plausible, because there are creatures there and bacteria that live there. So I'm sure they'll be discovering a lot of different animals and algae and bacteria and stuff like that, because it's like these lakes are deep under the ice sheets, they're thousands of years old, like Lake Vostok, for example.
Right. I was just about to mention that.
That's the first one that they discovered, and there's bacteria in that lake from what they can tell from drilling into the ice. And they also have, the US has a station, right, that is actually built on an ice floe shelf. And you can transport it with a moving ice shelf. When it's close to melting, you transport it into another ice shelf because it can be disassembled with different modular parts and reassembled, and has these sled wheels on it. I can't remember what it's called, the station itself, but it's quite ingenious modular building system.
That's pretty far out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's existed. It's a surface base in a science lab. It's been there for like 10 years already, something like that. And people are saying, well, how can you map these bases and stuff? Nothing can exist under the ice shelf or on the surface. And yet we have this US base that already, and a lab that can be, that's modular, dismantled and put together again, and it moves around on ice shelves. So if that can be done, it's already on a floating ice shelf. So why can't you have secret space program bases and labs under the ice shelf?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the new Swabia expedition.
The tunnels and stuff are already there. All they have to do is get into one of them giant lakes and then build something.
Exactly. Like, people think, they've told me, well, it's all covered by ice and ice shelves. You can't build anything under it. And I'm saying, yes, you can, because it's more than what people think.
Mm-hmm. We were just talking about that before you came on. We had an article about them finding a vast lake networks under, where was it? Totten Glacier?
Totten Glacier.
Underneath Australia.
Totten Glacier, maybe.
Totten,
possibly.
Could be. It's some guy's name. It's not the German word for death. It's some guy's name.
It sounds like it, though.
Yeah.
That's what we thought, too.
So,
you
yeah,
know what it made me think of? Like, when I first saw Totten, it made me think of the new Swabia expedition. And they'll be like, I can imagine them just be like, well, Hans, what are we going to name this glacier? Oh, I don't know, Fritz, fuck it, let's call it Skull Glacier. Or Death Glacier. Totten Glacier. But no, it was actually named after an American serviceman. So.
Yeah, and Spartan 1 and Spartan 2 said that there's a whole space fleet in Antarctica in the bases and the labs where they launch the spaceships out of space launches into outer space and do all kinds of exploration. And Antarctica is the perfect place to do it at because it's so remote.
Yeah, it is. And it's restricted airspace, too.
Oh, yeah, you can hide a lot of stuff there and have an excuse to be there, like for the scientists, the engineers, everybody to be there. And the general public can't get there anyway. It's too cold, it's too isolated, nothing goes there. So it's a perfect place to do top secret Black Ops missions and projects and studies.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they don't respect treaties, so.
Nope, they've broke the treaties because they have nuclear weapons there. And plasma weapons. Yeah, they do all kinds of secret testing.
It was a pretty good reason for them not to militarize Antarctica. I mean, it's in striking distance of, a lot of places. Like, you shoot some missiles from there pretty quickly, just places,
Well,
yeah.
I imagine America, Russia, and China all probably have nuclear subs parked around Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Waiting to drop missiles if some shit pops off.
Yeah, well, and those nuclear missiles can go into all those bases and stuff, just like the electric submarines.
We posted an article in the group earlier this week talking about how, Boeing has these new autonomous submarines that are going to be patrolling the ocean. And they're completely robotic.
Yeah, I mean, secret space programs, planetary corporations have drones that deliver stuff to their bases in Antarctica. Automated drones, huge craft drones. So what you guys just mentioned does not surprise me.
Have you ever, during your remote viewing of Antarctica, have you ever seen any spots that were like tropical on the surface, like maybe from volcano vents or something, or at least green? Maybe not tropical, but green. Maybe have like animal life walking around and stuff.
Well, I mean, you have. It's not purely green. It's more like a dry desert with vegetation, like the McMurdo Dry Valley, for example. If you take that, there's in the spring and summer there is green vegetation there and plants. They're all shorter and stubbier, of course, because it's still ice sheets everywhere. But it's there, and there's the typical animals: polar bears, seals, all that kind of stuff. That's there. It's not really tropical right now, because most of it is still frozen and ice sheets. That's a fact. But there are locations in the mountains, remote areas, that are green vegetation. It's desert green vegetation, but it's vegetation nonetheless. It's not all frozen over.
So nothing like extremely warm, like way warmer than you would expect. Like
sometimes you'll have algae blooms too that happen in these frozen lakes where the ice is thin enough to where it makes the whole lake look green from the air.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are the vents that do warm the lakes under the ice sheets, the volcanic vents and stuff. The geysers. Yeah, geysers.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about, if there was any, external, like volcanic vents that went all the way up to the surface there that maybe had a more temperate climate around it.
The lakes do, but that's under the ice.
Yeah, under the ice.
They're thermally warmed by the geysers and the volcanic vents, because there are volcanic vents there that it's not active volcanoes, but somehow it still emits thermal energy to warm the lakes, which is a mystery to the scientists. I don't think it's a mystery. I think the bases have technology to activate volcanoes, to modify weather, so they could do whatever they want in Antarctica with weather modification.
Right, and then they had that, was like a square or rectangle at the bottom of Vostok that was like hot as hell, and they were like, what that? You know what I'm talking about? Let me see if I can find a picture of it.
Well, the Russians had a project that they were dreaming up back in the 60s where they would have big orbital mirrors, big concave orbital mirrors that would capture sunlight from above the limb of the Earth and beam it down into places, out in Siberia where, it's like negative 40 degrees, but, you have this one little patch of sunlight that's probably like, 20 yards by 20 yards, and it's like Florida right there in that little spot of sunlight.
Yeah, I'm sure that's possible. Because you have your DARPA and weather modification. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Russians actually have that technology these days.
Yeah, I'm sure they can't be too far behind. I mean, this is alleged that they have their own faction of a secret space program up there.
The Roscosmos.
Right. So they can't be too far behind technology-wise.
No, I don't think they are. I think Russia might be equal to the United States. Because what I know, the secret space programs, the United States had their secret space program on the moon. They had a base by 1950s up on the moon. And they had craft they had gravitic technology, anti-gravitic ships already that could get to the moon. And they had, by 1959, they already had a space station. Have you guys watched Project Blue Book? It is veering off Antarctica a little, but it's part of the history. Have you guys watched Project Blue Book?
No, I've been meaning to. I've been hooked on, the OA, and what was the other thing? Love, Death, and Robots. But I've been meaning to watch it.
No, I have not watched it either. I think I watched part of the first episode, but I just haven't had much time.
Well, and of course, Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, watched that, definitely.
I think the audience is not going to like me. I think Star Trek Discovery is lame. The OA is lame.
I didn't like that OA either, but I like Discovery.
I've been watching the Orville.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, Orville's good.
It's better than the Next Generation.
And you know what I stumbled across that I thought was pretty cool? Strange Angel. It was, what's it, about that Jack Parsons guy, being in Thelma and all that. Yeah, it was like sorcery and rockets. I thought that was pretty cool.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, I liked it.
Hey, I liked it.
Going back to Project Blue Book, I watched all 10 episodes, and in one of the episodes, what I know psychically, and like the dead do talk, so I've been communicating with Werner von Braun psychically, and he told me that he and his family were threatened and coerced for him to build these space stations, circular orbiting space stations with gravity. And
threatened, coerced by who?
By the United States Air Force, because they had recruited most of the German scientists after World War in Project Paperclip. Mm-hmm. So that went just beyond them building rockets, that went into Werner von Braun being blackmailed by the United States Air Force and other, military factions of United States that are black ops programs, because there's others. And so he was forced to build schematics for space stations. These donut-shaped circular round space stations that had rings, right? And they were habitable, and the ring systems would spin and it would create the gravity.
Yeah, centrifugal force.
Exactly. So that's what he was telling me about psychically. And also, I had seen this in the archives of the Planetary Corporation databases when I was up on the Mars basis. That was there, that history of what they did with von Braun. So kind of a little bit of a corroboration for me. Not that I can prove any of this, right?
Right.
Whatever. And in Project Blue Book, in one of the earlier episodes, lo and behold, Werner von Braun is working on more than building space rockets. He's working on launching one of the reverse-engineered alien craft.
Oh, wow.
Launching it to time dilation sequence so it disappears, and they force one of the Air Force pilots to unwillingly go into the craft. There's radiation, and the craft disappears. And this is where Project Paperclip was, in one of the United States Air Force bases. I don't remember the exact state that it was in, because there was this German town, right, where there was a lot of UFO activity that Alan Hynek was sent to investigate, where von Braun was working on the U.S. base, testing out this reverse-engineered craft. Do you guys remember what state this was in?
No. Do you remember the name of the base?
No. It's
the whole teleporting thing makes me think of the Philadelphia experiment, but
but
Norfolk. I mean, it could have been in this area somewhere, because we got Langley NASA here, and so that was a big player back in the day before Houston Command or whatever.
Yeah, but von Braun and the scientists were brought in one of the towns. They had sort of like their own town. It was purely mostly German culture and stuff.
I know that right here in Hampton, Virginia, there were a lot of paperclip scientists that were housed in, new Levittown style base housing that's right up and down King Street, right here in Hampton, Virginia.
Okay.
No, I think Blue Book isn't on Netflix. It's on TV, right?
It's History Channel. I'm trying to think of which state this was in, because I wrote it for my book. It's in my book, but I can't remember it. I'm kind of sick right now, so can't remember a lot of things now.
I mean, I would assume it would have to be like somewhere there was a base, like maybe Nevada or...
No, it was not in Nevada.
Texas, possibly.
California?
Not Texas, not California.
Florida?
No, not Florida. Right, Patterson Air Force Base, maybe.
Right, Patterson. That's
near there.
That's somewhere out.
Like the middle of the country.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let's see what I can find on the old Google machine.
Maybe Nebraska.
That sounds legitimate.
No, it's Ohio.
It's Ohio?
Yep.
Right, Patterson is in Ohio. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's Wright Patterson is definitely in Ohio. What I meant was, does it sound right that Ohio is the state?
No, it doesn't sound quite right. I'm sure if
there is something in Nebraska though. I know there is.
If I'm gonna do a lot of clicking, might as well. I'm gonna do some clicking now. I'm gonna go into my book, and I'll tell you right away where it was. Just bear with me.
No worries.
Clicking.
We got Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm going into the book right now because it's in one of my art history of the SSP. It's actually in one of my chapters. So I'm gonna go into that right now and look it up because I have it. Okay. 2. Yeah. So I'm talking about von Braun and that history. Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Huntsville, Alabama. That's where the German scientists were taken, along with Werner von Braun, and that's where they were testing that anti-gravity craft. And this was Project Blue Book, Season 1, Episode 4, titled Operation Paperclip, ironically. And this is from my book. This is me describing that that episode, actually, and how it ties in with the secret space program. So this is facts from my book, folks. Huntsville, Alabama.
So we've got
space
aviation and missile research development right there in Huntsville, Alabama. And we've got U.S. Army Strategic Defense, mil-spec coatings, Redstone Arsenal Army Base, all in the area there. So
exactly.
The one that sticks out the most, obviously we're talking about the Paperclip Gang, is the aviation and missile research development.
I would think so.
Wait, you guys are Nazis. None, we're not.
It's open 24 hours, you guys. You can get a missile made anytime you want. It's like 7-Eleven. Just get a missile and coffee.
So, it's good that I had written that chapter. I wasn't planning to discuss it, but it's the book is being written because I want to compare all this history, right, and how it ties to Werner von Braun, how it ties to Antarctica. There's so much about the SSP, bits and pockets of information and historical stuff. So, and I'm sure they are testing nuclear missiles in Antarctica and plasma weapons and all that good jazz.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Well, and you remember hearing about Operation Aegis too. They went down and nuked some of the Nazi bases after the war. Like after they started buzzing DC in '52, they went back down there in '53.
Well, the official thing, I think, wasn't it a joint Soviet-U.S. nuke test?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Are you gonna get up with your enemy and jointly test a nuke, to test a powerful mega weapon with your worst enemy? There's no fucking way.
Yeah, why not try to clear out some of the Nazi bases? Why not? And actually, the 1952 buzzing of Washington D.C. flying over the government buildings and in the parks, that's in Project Blue Book in one of the episodes. Season 1, Episode 9, I believe.
I wonder if there was something similar to that happened in Russia around the same time that you just don't hear about.
Probably. I mean, to me, it's ironic. As I'm writing my book, Project Blue Book comes out, and they're providing all these corroborating evidences and historical details that actually happened. And speaking of Project Blue Book, the last episode, Season 1, Episode 10, you have this secret agent with this bismuth type crystal thing with hieroglyphs going up to something that looks familiarly like Antarctica to me. It's very isolated, it's cold. He's climbing up mountains to insert this bismuth thing into an obelisk pyramid, and it activates, and then the guy disappears.
Far out.
That's the last closing minute of Project Blue Book, the last episode where the season ends. So I think that was Antarctica, and this guy activated the obelisk pyramid, the hieroglyphs glowed, and he disappeared.
Wow.
We've got a question from the chat. How do anti-grav ships have gravity on board?
Well, there's different ways of having gravity on board. Like if you have crystalline engines, the gravity is created, or there's plating, floor plating that, creates the gravity, and you wear these boots that come into contact with the plating on the ship, and you have gravity.
So is it like magnetic?
It is partially magnetic, yeah.
Okay, so it's more like
that's how people walk on hulls when they go out on spacewalks too, is they have magnetic boots that stick to the hull.
Yeah, the technology is more advanced on the SSP ships, but it's basically hull plating. Or if you're on space stations, they build ring type of space stations where it orbits and rotates, right? Mm-hmm. With the rings, and it creates the gravity.
Yeah, like on the ISS where, the public isn't allowed to have access to that sort of gravity plating technology yet. There's no meaningful concept of up. It's just towards the Earth and away from the Earth, and left, right, forward, and backward.
And huge exploration ships have gravity generators.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Because when you're out in space for long periods of time, you have your gravity plating. You do, but something has to power the gravity all over the ship. So you have to basically have a gravity generator.
So what about on a Hanabu type ship?
Never been on a Hanabu, so I don't know.
Probably has something to do with how
I would imagine they wouldn't even need to really have gravity on one of them. They could just strap in or whatever, right? Because they're so small.
Yeah.
I mean,
they are small. Like the Hanabu is small.
You mentioned Werner von Braun earlier, and that show, that Strange Angel show, talks about how Jack Parsons was involved with occult societies. What occult society was von Braun involved in?
He did not tell me that.
I would assume. I'm sorry, go ahead.
All he told me psychically was that he was forced into Project Paperclip. He was forced to build out these space stations in modular parts, and then it was launched into space. And the U.S. Air Force and the other Black Ops programs associated with the U.S. got their first 3 space stations. 1 around the moon, 2 around Mars. So that's basically what he told me. And his family was threatened and almost killed to get him to do this stuff, to work for the Air Force, and to bamboozle him to work for NASA as a front.
We got another question coming in. If you feel up to viewer questions. She wants to know if you know anything about why they shut all the telescopes down that time. I don't know. Was that about a year ago now? Do you even know what I'm talking about?
When I know what
the solar observatories.
Oh, that was interesting. I don't think they were hunting for a criminal.
Right.
Well, why would you shut down telescopes unless you don't want those telescopes to see ships coming in?
I mean, it could be. We were looking at it, and it was only a few that were shut down, and there was some that were still active right in the area, and the only thing that was shut down was like an internet connection or something, so they were still running. But so I think if it was ships, we would have seen pictures because there was other observatories up and running. I don't know. I mean, that was my first thing too, I thought. But then we started researching it and plotting out where all of the telescopes are and which ones were down and which ones weren't and what was actually down. So I don't know if I buy into the whole criminal thing either. But I don't think it was a fleet of ships personally.
Well, and then the person from chat also asks, And why all the ships around recently, is it about the treaty with the tall whites expiring?
Oh, so all the ships appearing? People seeing more and more? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's just put it this way. There's more than just the tall whites in that treaty. There's treaties with a lot of different extraterrestrials.
Right.
It's not just the tall whites. And whether that treaty is expiring or not, this has been all, the dirty laundry has been kept way too long as a secret. It's a dirty little secret that the US and other countries have made contact with extraterrestrials. Like 70 odd years of that being hidden. Let's just put it this way. A lot of these ships are ours and not theirs. Some of it is theirs. It's actually extraterrestrial, but a lot of it is just testing ships that we've made because we have these programs. So they're testing out to see how the public reacts to more ships appearing in the sky and asking, well, what is it? Is it a drone? Is it some kind of a weather thing, observational station, monitoring you, satellites? They want us to keep guessing what the heck is it. It's appearing in the skies now, especially at night.
It sounds solid to me. It makes sense.
Distract us, make us wonder what the heck is it. We know it's not airplanes because it sits there and it hovers and it blinks. And what I've seen, my mom and I have been coming out because the weather is good here in BC. We've been coming in and seeing these, I call them craft, or maybe there's some kind of a spy drone or something, hovering in the night sky, 4 of them. And it hovers there and it blinks and it slowly moves, then hovers for like 4 or 5 hours at 12 a.m. My mom like, that's craft. It doesn't look like satellite. Either it's too high up to be a drone or it's too low. And it doesn't look like a drone. It looks like some circular craft. Maybe it's advanced spy drones. Maybe it's advanced ships. Maybe it's ours. Maybe it's theirs. I've seen it blinking and hovering for 2 months now around my house.
Interesting.
Yeah, so things are making appearances, especially at night. I think it's to make people question the nature of their reality, what's really out there beyond airplanes and shuttles and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, they have been conditioning us towards that for a while, too. And you gotta wonder, I mean, there's always the rumors about the staged alien invasion. Like, how much... Because, through media and everything, UFOs, aliens, it's all being kind of... It's like programming. It's getting you used to it. You know what I mean? It's the frog in the boiling water versus putting him in the pot and then boiling the water. I mean, obviously, either way, the fucking frog's gonna jump out. But...
Yeah, I mean, how long can you keep secrets and have these distractions and diversions and have people jumping up and down? Oh, I saw a UFO. What is it? Like, people see too much. People wonder about too much things. How long can you keep it all bottled up and can't keep the truth out of the public eye forever?
No, you
One of these days, it will all explode and people will be like, oh, okay, we've been bamboozled for 70 odd years. What else is new?
So we got another listener question. Is there a galactic war going on right now in our vicinity amongst various ET groups and possibly humans?
There's been galactic wars happening for eons. We've just been shielded from it. There's all kinds of skirmishes that happen over resources out in space.
Yeah,
so,
even Penny's told us about battles on Mars, like battles aplenty.
Yeah, there's battles aplenty. We're just shielded from those battles, so we don't see them. I'm not connected to the SSP anymore, so I can't just go, oh, what do you fight? What's the latest you're fighting over and with whom?
Right.
I've heard is that there's a temporal war going on over different timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Like how we end up on this planet, the outcome of this planet. And that was last year when I still had some connections of a temporal war and the timelines changing and them not want the planetary corporations there's actually a group called the Time Corporations where they actually take care of all the time dilation stuff and quantum leap time travel, and they don't want a huge incursion, whereas one of the other SSP groups is trying to do the timeline incursion and ruin things and get things their way. And the Cabal is happy about the timeline incursion, and everybody's fighting not to have that happen. So all I know is about a temporal war up in space, in our space.
Is this like from other timelines where they've irrevocably managed to cock up the planet, and so they're trying to bail and come into another timeline where things are still habitable?
Well, they actually want to ruin one specific timeline, so we end up with Armageddon, and the rest of the groups don't want that to happen.
Well, if everything is already happened and happening at once and has happened, you know, like as far as timelines go, with every decision branching off into another timeline.
There's an infinite number of timelines.
I mean, what
with
is even the
Armageddon
point?
and
You know what I mean?
without.
Like, what are they doing? What is even the point?
Well,
I mean,
there's one specific one they really want to ruin.
So they're trying to like wipe it out completely for forever and ever in every instance of that timeline.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to do that. So that's the temporal war, and the closest I can link that as an example is if anybody has ever watched the Continuum TV show.
No.
I've always thought about checking it out, but I haven't. But now I'm gonna.
Oh, it's wonderful. And it was filmed here in British Columbia, Vancouver.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah. So temporal, think of it as there are time cops out there, and they do try to prevent stuff from being fracked and tampered with, so we don't end up with a nasty timeline incursion that we cannot fix forever.
Do you know what this particular group or groups are trying to change from happening? They just want to bring Armageddon, that's it? They don't want people to live?
Well, they want to ruin, destabilize everything that we currently have technologically and send us back to the Neanderthal days.
What, do we like muck it up for them in the future or something?
Yeah, they're. I mean, disclosure is the hot topic that for heading towards the future, and some of these groups don't want disclosure, so they're willing to go as far as, you know, let's nuke it, let's ruin them, let's ruin the human population, so they're back to the Ice Age, back to the Neanderthal days where they have nothing, back to square zero. Mm-hmm. Some of them are willing to ruin it so much just so we don't get the goodies.
So that would explain why things like anti-gravity technology haven't been released to the general public yet at this point.
Yeah. Some of these groups are willing to sink so low, it's despicably disgusting.
Well, and I can't tell you how much it bugs me out when I see people still fucking around with chemical rockets. If, you know, this AG tech, you know, is in the hands of somebody, you know, how come, you know, the industry as a whole hasn't been open up to it yet? Like that, you know, something's got to give.
Because then everybody would be using it, and then they would see everything that has happened.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many different ways to fuck up this planet and us right along with it. What I'm seeing is interesting using Roundup glyphosate. Mm-hmm. It's being discovered in people's wine. It's being discovered in people's drinks, food.
That shit fucks you up. It changes the DNA of your gut flora to start producing Roundup. Exactly,
and you get cancer or some other weird anomaly in your body that you could die from. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different, there's chemical weapons, there's Roundup, there's so many different ways to kill off the human race and without us knowing what did it.
Yeah. Food is definitely one of the number one things.
Silent weapons for secret wars.
Definitely.
Like they're weaponizing us from the inside out. Mm-hmm. By spraying us with crap like chemtrails, Roundup, whatever.
They don't even have to spray us. I mean, it's in the food. The food is poison. Like, if you go to the store and you buy something and it's in a box, a bag, or a can, it's poison. There is poison in there.
And it's also in there when they spray crops, orchards with Roundup, vineyards, it comes back through the rain. It leaches into the soil and
water.
Gets into the water, and the rain recycles it, brings it back down into the soil.
And that doesn't even count the things that they purposely add to the water.
Exactly. Here in BC, they could add chlorine, but they can't add fluoride anymore.
Well,
that's good.
You read on the news all the time about how, like, the fish in, the Chesapeake Bay or near Seattle are, or pretty much anywhere near civilization are starting to have, like, huge amounts of, like, Ritalin and statin drugs and other things in their systems.
Prozac.
Fish testing positive for Prozac because it's, basically coming down the rivers that feed into the ocean where they live.
Exactly, and the fish get mutated, and some of the fish can walk.
Well, at least they're not depressed.
That's just like, well, they're happy about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in some parts of the United States, people have been finding stuff on their boats, like fish walking, and like having fins that look like legs. It's disgusting, but gotta wonder how that can happen.
I mean, you think that could be an escape chimera project from one of these, it doesn't even have to be a deep, like super deep secret space program level black, because they do that kind of stuff just on like mid-level bioweapons facilities and shit, like just hybrids of different species, nothing extraterrestrial, just Earth-based stuff.
Just something that got mutated and accidentally escaped. And people are freaking out or stuff washing up on shores of these weird creature remains or live ones. You're like, what the hell is that?
Well, we'll say a lot of those that we come across anyway end up being like whales or something. Just like so rotten, it just looks like some kind of alien thing. But strange stuff does wash ashore. I mean, they had that one that was pretty credible happen in New Jersey across the way from that one weapons lab. It was in Montauk. The weapons lab there. The bioweapons. And they had that the Montauk monster. So, I mean...
and we see that in Indonesia all the time. Like, something washes up on the shore in, like, Indonesia or, the Maldives or the Philippines, and people are just like, yo, what the hell is this thing?
Also, it's funny. Right across the shore there from Montauk is that little town Lime, where they first got the disease. So, I mean, it's very possible that came from that bioweapons lab right there across the bay.
And, I mean, they're also weaponizing mosquitoes and other things, actually building robotic bugs that look like mosquitoes or flies or something. It just bites you, and you think, oh yeah, I just been bit by a mosquito, and actually you've been bitten by a little robotic mosquito that just passed on a virus to you that's going to kill you in 5 seconds or less.
Or some nanites or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Into your bloodstream, and then it mutates you or kills you or whatever, because it's just an experiment the government wants to happen.
Okay, we have another question from the chat. Are blue marlin fish like the hammerhead sharks you met with, who are sentient beings and wish to walk amongst us?
No, those are more like hammerhead sharks.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Jennifer.
I do remember though, hearing from a couple of guests that there are other species of off-worlders that have, big underground installations at various places in Earth's oceans, specifically in the southern hemisphere, because most of the southern hemisphere is ocean.
Yeah, like the aquatics.
Mm-hmm.
They're semi-mammalian and semi-aquatic. They have gills, but they've adapted where they can walk on land and live partially in water, and they have their own bases specifically adapted to their environments on Earth, underwater, or even on the surface. And they can have aquariums, tanks, whatever. So you don't need to, think of aquatics as only being aquatic, because they've genetically evolved. So they can walk on land temporarily. They have certain types of gills, or they have smart suits that they can put on and have adaptability to breathe human air and oxygen temporarily.
Yeah, there would be a huge perk to being an aquatic species, and that would be being able to go to worlds like Enceladus or, Europa or Titan or Ganymede, and, drill through the ice, and then bam, you have that whole, pretty much unoccupied ocean at your disposal.
Exactly. And the thing is, you wouldn't see these creatures openly walking here on the surface of the planet because it has to stay a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in our deep oceans. They have bases in our oceans, in remote regions of lakes and oceans.
So what would an aquatic ship look like? Would it not look like? Would it be full of water? Or
it might have a dedicated space for water, that's for sure. If they require a full tank, like what's at the zoo, like full water aquatic environment, that half of the ship would be dedicated to that for sure, because they need to swim, they need certain type of protein, maybe from the water or for food source. So half of it would be dedicated to water tanks. The rest of it would be dedicated to being able for that ship to travel out in space and exist out in space, or, come and land on a planet. So it would have to have some kind of like surface level features on the ship, so it wouldn't be fully aquatic.
So I wonder, it's just, how would they evolve? Like, we get to a certain level in technology where we're using electricity and stuff, so like I wonder what their technology is based on, like, because obviously you're not, if you're underwater, you're gonna have a hard time with the electricity part, I think,
making fire and stuff.
Yeah,
but, I could see a more sonic based technology, or maybe something based off of minerals and natural
crystals,
natural mental abilities.
Yeah, I was gonna say crystalline technology, because you're not going to use what we use, fuel propellants and nuclear
not
nuclear
much combustion going on underwater.
No, proteins, minerals, stuff like that, crystals, I would say. And even using, you can conduct electricity with water.
Right.
So water is a natural electrical conductivity stream.
You'd have a hard time creating a circuit underwater, because it would just bridge the path everywhere.
They can. For them, that's nothing, creating an electrical water circuit.
So 2 million years ago, was Antarctica at the South Pole, or has it drifted further south since then? Was it further north and then it drifted south?
To tell you the truth, I'm not very good with coordinates, so I couldn't tell you either way. Never was good with coordinates.
But how many aquatic spacefaring species do you think there are?
Too many to count?
Just a ton of them?
There are a ton of them.
I would imagine that amphibian type life, especially, would be pretty common.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things swimming around with a tail.
Water is pretty common throughout the universe too, so.
Exactly. Well, funny thing is that I remember from the Atlantean time, because I had lived in Atlantis, actually. I have several lifetimes, and one of them I remember being a mermaid.
Really?
Yep.
So is that some sort of ET hybrid?
I would imagine, yeah, because it was mostly underwater, and no, I could not will myself to have legs whenever I wanted. So it's mostly
shapeshifting.
So what was that like? I mean,
because that does technically count as shapeshifting.
It's basically lived in an underwater facility and coming in and out of it, and I had a tail.
So like, did you have like a normal day-to-day life? Like, did you have a job? Were you like the clerk at the court or something?
More like the council member or something.
Okay.
You know, they all had their councils and stuff, and basically it was near an island that I remember for sure. And there had been a catastrophe out there, so I got hit on my head and my back broke and I died underwater. That's what I remember from that lifetime to end.
Whoa.
Scary.
And me hating earthquakes because there had been an earthquake when that happened. Yeah, so I have memories of the tragic ending of that mermaid lifetime.
So we got a few minutes left here. If anybody has any more questions, you can go ahead and just drop them into the YouTube chat and we'll get to them. Until then, though, did you have anything else that you specifically wanted to talk about before we get to the end?
Concerning Antarctica, like there's bits and pieces of information coming out, right? Why did Buzz Aldrin go there? Why did John Kerry go there? Why did Kirill go there? The Russian.
The Black Pope.
Yeah.
The head of the Jesuit order.
Yeah. Why did Barack Obama plan to go there? Like, why all these people? Why did Putin go there?
Mm-hmm.
It's not to just count penguins, right?
Well,
I would hope not.
I can imagine Putin going there to get a tan.
Well, man, where's Vitas when you need him?
Yeah. Like, and what's the validity of those? That's SEAL Marine going there, like to rescue some scientist that didn't want to leave the cataloging expedition of those artifacts.
That's right.
So when they finally start unearthing, or in this case, unicing those pyramids down there, what can we expect to find?
They just might plant weird shit there, like technology and stuff, and say, well, you know, this existed and this and that, and the real goodies like the cryogenic stasis pods will be gone.
Anything that could benefit us.
Yeah, that'll be gone, of course.
Yeah, free energy. No, there was none of that.
No.
It's just been running this whole time off of hopes and promises.
Well, if the Atlanta-style energy weapons are down there, then, you know, I definitely don't want the, cabal-controlled government getting a hold of those.
They already got the shit anyway.
They'll probably leave the holographic supercomputers intact. That's in the wall, so people are like, oh, this holographic technology exists.
Ooh, yeah. We'll have what you call holodecks. That's what we'll get out of it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the elite are living forever and fucking.
They'll open Quark's bar at McMurdo Station.
I wouldn't be surprised if they leave the holographic computer technology out there, and that's kind of like, well, you can have a holodeck, yay.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, something they'd let us have, because it's not really benefiting anyone outside of entertainment.
Exactly. So they'd leave that to be discovered.
Well, if there are derelict ships down there, wouldn't they have, like, flight information, like, travel data about where, which other star systems are inhabited?
Yeah, of course they do, because those ships are still intact. Some of it might be damaged, but a lot of it isn't. And they're actively researching that and trying to get it all out of Antarctica as soon as possible. Because if they have to disclose something, they'll just disclose, oh, here's the remains of this derelict ship. There's nothing on it.
Right. It all was stripped out by us 30 years ago.
Let's say I were an astronomer and I had access to that new gravity thing that we mentioned earlier, where they can now pick out what's in the atmospheres of other planets, and I were looking for signs of life, what sort of things would I want to look for in the atmospheres of other stars to show, like, definitively, hey, there's life here?
Is there oxygen to begin with? What's it made out of? What's the atmospheric composition made out of? Life can breathe different things. We might need CO2. They might need carbon monoxide. So it really depends what kind of life you want to look for.
I read not too long ago there was a star that they detected, and I forget exactly where it was. I mean, there's only trillions of them, but there was a star that they detected that had heavy metals, like artificial metals, like plutonium and stuff, in the spectral lines of the star. And you usually don't see plutonium, unless there's been, in the spectral lines of a star in the atmosphere of a planet. unless there's been some pretty heavy nuclear warfare going on.
Exactly. And what that could be remains of a previous civilization in a war. The remains of that left behind, the plutonium. I mean, there's all kinds of different life. So what you would consider maybe us being life, something else might be different life. So you look for different signs.
Right.
Different atmospheres could be like I said, we need oxygen. Somebody might need carbon monoxide to breathe, to survive.
Have you ever encountered any life that existed as energy?
Yes, I was once energy myself as a light being.
So, where do they like hang out on planets, or are they flying around through space? How does that work?
And stuff.
They fly around in space and they explore planets. Have you guys watched Captain Marvel?
No, I haven't.
You should. It's really good about how energy and different elements can alter the human body. So, yeah, this lady was in the U.S. Air Force. She was trying to fly experimental craft, right? And there was this light engine technology, and it exploded, and she got exposed to that light energy equivalent from the engine, and it got absorbed into her body. So now she could be partially a light being. She could be physical, but she could also power up and destroy ships energetically. She got weaponized, and she could literally travel to different galaxies and take spaceships with her. So, that's kind of like an energy being now.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, if you were made of pure energy, then hypothetically you'd be able to just quantum tunnel from one place in the universe to another instantaneously.
Yeah, that's what's actually in that movie, Captain Marvel and the Tesseract.
Yep. Did you hear that? Phantom Spy, Captain Marvel was really great. Check it out, dude.
Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury is in that as well. So it's kind of like the... I thought that movie was great because that does talk about energy being changed and having a light body where you can exist semi-corporeally or incorporeal if you want.
Sort of like in Doctor Strange when he got knocked out of his body and his astral form was floating around.
Exactly. Yeah, similar to that, but this movie has a lot of action, and it also shows different extraterrestrials that can shapeshift and look human.
Like Mark Zuckerberg.
These green aliens trying to find this light engine planet so they could get home because they're being exterminated.
That's right. Wasn't that like the Krull or something like that, or a Skrill?
Yeah,
the Skrulls.
Skrulls.
Yeah, the Skrulls. Yeah, in Captain Marvel. Actually, that's I think what they're called in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's part of just the general Marvel Universe storyline. Is the Skrulls and all those.
Don't they pop up in X-Men too?
Yeah, they've been around. They were in multiple series.
Yeah, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain Fury see their first extraterrestrials, shapeshifters. So that's quite interesting. That's in this movie. So there's soft disclosure in a lot of these new movies coming out from the Marvel Universe.
Well, we saw where, what was it, Rand? Was it Rand?
Rand Corporation?
Rand Corp was, directing Sony on what to put in movies and shit.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I did some research on Rand, and that wouldn't surprise me either. Put in a little bit of pieces of soft disclosure so people think it's all sci-fi and not real, when it is real, and it just distracts you from looking deeply into reality for what's possible or not. It's like a diversion. It's like we're programmed to think that it's all entertainment, when in reality it's more than entertainment.
It's all soft disclosure.
On the other hand of that too or on the other side rather, it gets people used to the idea. So if something did show up people wouldn't freak out as bad. Like, I mean, just look at UFOs in general. I mean, that's pretty much ingrained in our popular culture. It's part of us, who we are at this point. Like, people aren't going to freak about, like, every average person, I would say. I mean, there's still a lot of people out here that don't believe in it, but most everybody believes in it. And if they saw one, I don't think they would flip their shit like they would have 40 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah. If I saw one, I would not pee in my pants today.
And I think that has a lot to do with just conditioning from media. Like you said, saturation of this drip disclosure type thing of people getting used to the idea. And maybe that was part of the plan, you know. And I'm not excusing them for anything, because fuck them. But, you know, maybe it was part of the plan, or maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, some of it
didn't think it was.
Some might be planned, some of it might not, because Star Trek started off with Star Wars and Star Trek as the first soft disclosures in the 1950s, 1960s, right? And it's still both of those are still a franchise to this day, and we are being conditioned that there probably is life in outer space. It's as simple as, yes, there's other life out there, and it's not just us. But it's all fantasy and science fiction, right, when it's not.
Well, so, hey, if there's really mushrooms on Mars, that tells me all I need to know about the mycelial network, right?
Oh, yeah. You've got memories of Mars. What do you know about the Mars mushrooms? We were talking about that before you got on.
All I know that I am very obsessed with watching mushrooms grow.
Really?
The growth cycle of mushrooms, any type of a mushroom, I want to know how it grows, how you can spread the mycelium system, because it's a spore, right? It's a mold spore.
Up real quick.
Because you can grow mold spores with certain trees in your backyard. So
right.
How do you develop it?
I wonder if if that was like something you used to spend a lot of time on, just sitting around watching mushrooms grow on Mars.
Maybe I did. I don't recount seeing mushrooms, watching mushrooms grow, but I like mushrooms and how they grow.
Me too.
Yeah, well, we were wondering if they were the good kind of mushrooms, you know, like cubensis, maybe Martian cubensis.
Well, the rats are certainly big on Mars.
Yeah. Well, we're just about...
Vermin is common anywhere.
That is true. And we're just about out of time, so I want to thank you again for coming on the show and talking with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I had a blast. I look forward to it whenever you're coming on.
Well, yeah, it's fun with you guys. There's no judgment. We chat. And it was more than Antarctica we discussed, so that was great.
Oh, well, it always is. We can never have a conversation about one topic, and that is something that...
Hey,
it doesn't matter who our guest is. It's just how it happens.
Did you see the articles talking about how they think there's like 50 million rogue planets in our own galaxy alone?
I saw more of an article about that there's more Earth-like planets now than ever with their new telescope arrays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there probably are a lot of rogue planets, but what I'm most interested in is planets like Earth. So I just read that there's like 4 new planets that are like Earth 500 light years away from here.
Yeah, Kepler 186f,
yes.
TRAPPIST-1, Kepler 22.
Yep, that's the articles. So in the habitable zones. So I think the secret space programs have already gotten there and looked at these planets. Yeah, they're colonizable. Let's grab them. Let's snatch them.
The real question is, do they have oil?
Because we'll be there in an instant.
Probably do. But, I mean, they're disclosing there are so many Earth-like planets, and they could probably be hospitable because they have oceans, oxygen, blah, blah, blah. Question is, why aren't we advanced enough to get there? And we're just hearing about this because it's been kept a secret from us.
Well, hopefully at some point soon the doors will blow off and, we'll be opened up to being a Type 1 or Type 2 civilization. It'd definitely be a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it would be more exciting, certainly, to not just like, hey, let's clean up our oceans. Let's eliminate disease and hunger and war and spread out to the universe because we're law-abiding citizens now.
If that treaty's running out, then who knows? You know what I mean? We could be, from what I've heard from other guests recently, apparently a bunch of stuff's going to open up in 2021.
Well, let us hope. I mean, Trumpsville, USA, Mr. Trump was certainly running for president in 2021. That'll be interesting.
It's all about to make Seoul great again. Well, Ileana, thank you for coming on again, and we'll be in touch soon, and we're gonna get her YouTube channel linked up under this video for you guys. I meant to do that earlier. We only got to the Facebook though, so. But thanks again for coming on, and we will speak to you again soon.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Did that turn off as planned? Yes, it did. So, that's a wrap for tonight's broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We won't be doing any more additional news articles.
Nope, it's just that time we gotta knock off and, attempt to get some sleep before getting up at mind-bogglingly early hours of the morning.
We both have to go do the same day we do every day, always, forever, tomorrow. So, with that in mind, we will see you next week. Do we got a guest next week? I am not sure. I think Jason Moss might be up next week.
We'll figure it out.
We do have 1 week. We're going to try and do a remote broadcast from somewhere. Who knows? Maybe we'll pop up at a Subway.
Also
Maybe we'll pop up at a Walmart. Who the fuck knows what we'll do?
We might even have a local occultist roundtable coming up sometime very soon in the future. We're working on it.
This guy's been saying that for 6 months.
Hey, I'm manifesting here. I'm manifesting.
See you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Tess. Thanks, Penny. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.